challengers, welcome to day 6. Okay, we're officially in the home stretch, and this is where the challenge really starts to pay off. So don't stop now.
Starting today, we're going to start preparing you for the social dance parties that you'll have this weekend. You're going to want to test drive your new elasticity skills, so here are a few ways to prepare mentally. First, new habits take time. If these skills are new to you, you can expect them to be inconsistent for a while. Accept this as part of the process and not an indication that they don't work or that you suck. Your new gooiness might get noticed and appreciated by partners. This is an opportunity to start a conversation by asking them for their preference on the scale of 1 to 10 of maximum stretch. More discussion amongst dancers leads to more awareness and interest in better connection for everyone. You could also initiate a conversation by offering a compliment to partners whose connection you admire, like, "Hey, I've been working on my elasticity lately, and I just wanted to tell you that I really admire yours."
Why, thank you. So over the next 2 days, we're going to talk more about how you can prepare physically and some compensation skills that you can use to manage your elasticity with challenging partners. For now, in the day 6 challenge, we're focusing on managing elastic flow in distance and time. So timing the rebound, choosing when to do a post, and becoming more agile in adapting to different partners and speeds.
Plus, now that you're starting to automate your boing skills, you can handle adding the extra variable of music today. So enjoy your day 6. While music is predictable, partners are not. So these drills help prepare you to react effectively under pressure, such as a timing schedule and surprise forces. The first one we're going to do is practicing protecting our shoulder. So stand with both of your shoulder blades up against the wall. Reach out your arm straight out. And then reach your fingertips as far forward as you possibly can without lifting the other shoulder blade off, allowing your hand and your elbow to turn to the side. That's the compromised position we're going to learn how to protect. So next what we're going to do is use our elastic tied to the structure. We're going to set our pitch and posture and get out to a place where our arm is completely straight and the elastic is just taut, not stretched yet. Take one more step so that the elastic is stretched out. The size of your step will depend on the strength of your elastic, so don't hurt yourself. Now you're going to need to be countering a little bit into the floor, but it's not a boing exercise right now. Now, we're going to simulate the same position that we had against the wall with shoulder blades square, and then we're going to allow that connected arm to be reaching forward, basically in a pulled out position, but it's very controlled and gentle, because we're going to practice correcting, putting it back into alignment. The way you do that is simply by rotating your arm inside that. Now remember, when you rotate your arm, you don't have to affect your wrist. That's a choice, right? So you could do this, but you're not going to do that when you're hanging onto a partner. So think about rotating, twisting, or screwing that arm into the socket. That's going to help you activate those proper shoulder and back muscles to do that, as opposed to crunching. So from this starting position, you can practice 3 things. First, letting it roll forward, then correcting it, then starting off with that row that we were doing yesterday, so you can recognize how your arm can move freely and elbow can extend freely without sacrificing your shoulder.
Alright, so now that we've been practicing pretty predictably with a lot of drills, we're going to really focus on randomizing for this one. So for this drill, we don't need our elastic band, we just need a structure. So it can be our kitchen sink, it can be our banisters, but we're going to be using our arms. We're going to be boinging in random positions, but the key things are, we're going to make sure that we let go in between so that we have that falling action into our boing. But to really make sure that we're regulating our arms and our sensitivity to those random positions, we're going to have our eyes closed. So this is a blind boinging drill. So I'm boinging, releasing, falling, boinging, releasing, falling, boinging, releasing. And I'm always working on trying to get my catch sensitivity so I know how far I'm going to stretch, how long I want to stretch. But I can't see my object. I can only go with what I feel the moment I touch it. But the important thing is that we're still trying to always go for that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's the one thing that is going to stay constant.
Okay, so for this drill, we're going to need our elastic band in hand, followers choked up, leaders, you can go at full extension, and we're going to be doing the timing anchor stretch lead drill, which you did from day 2. And you remember that we're timing, starting on the wrong foot, going into your anchor and continuing back into the end zone, making sure that you reserve some length in your leash to be able to actually use your elbow for that, as opposed to holding this rigid and making the elastic cheat for you, right? So be careful, followers, as you're standing on your non-anchor foot, that when you go to place your anchor, you don't accidentally, instinctively reach back too far with that foot. If you place that foot back too far, it prevents you from really anchoring, because I can't physically get the rest of my spine up on top of that hip because the elastic is preventing me. So make sure that your anchor is just on that touch line and you're allowing your whole spine to go back further than it, as opposed to your foot being the last thing back. Fake anchoring, we call it fankering. So I'm going to be counting you in right now, but the goal is to have someone else other than you in your own brain thinking about this timing, so it gives you a metric to really measure yourself against, because we want you to start getting a bit pickier about it, about aligning the timing with your movement. So I'm going to count 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. Now that you have a hang for it, I want you to watch for something a bit more specific. Check out the curtain behind me. Notice the lines in it. You can use this as a vertical reference. Well, as I go into my anchor on the touch line, notice where my whole body is aligned with those lines. Now as I go into the end zone, keeping my pitch, you can actually measure and notice how far you're going if you record yourself. Okay, now I'm going to start changing up the timing. Are you ready? Listen carefully. 5, 6, 7, boing, 1. 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 The faster you go, the shorter and tighter your leash needs to be, but it's still always going to be absorbing and expanding at least a little bit.
Now for this drill, we're taking that same exercise we were just doing, but applying it to real music. So again, we're going to have that exterior source creating our timing that we have to be really strict with.
Close to me, just your company. Like this, on the regular, I can't take the blame. I'm just here for the night.
So you may have noticed that I was pretty much doing every 4 counts. It doesn't have to be strict like that. You can do it in 6 counts, 4 counts, 8 counts. Whatever you want to do, just make sure that you're going into that anchor on the upbeat. Downbeat, upbeat, go. Downbeat, upbeat, go. Downbeat, upbeat, go. For an upgraded version, you can totally be grooving with your music ahead of time, making sure you're not influencing your band too much, and then go into your anchor on that upbeat again. So randomly, I'm just dancing around, getting into music, and I'm setting into my anchor the same way.
One thing that tends to happen to us as humans and as social dancers is that when we're surprised, we tend to seize up. So this drill is all about desensitizing you to that panic response and retraining you or reprogramming your muscles to be able to respond with a nice, healthy, elastic, absorbing rebound that's going to feel a lot safer and more comfortable. So this drill is called gauging the weight and rate of your bowing. I'm going to actually close my eyes. So that way I take away the visual cues and I force myself to really rely on the connection sensation. With my eyes closed, Miles is giving me a nice, normal bowing flow that's kind of teasing me into make me think that I can predict it. But then he's going to surprise me and randomize and occasionally give me longer bowings or short, tight ones at different ranges on the scale and different strengths. So that I'm really forced to detect the weight and the rate that bowing is producing. You might discover a blind spot. You might discover that you're less sensitive to lighter bowings, which is going to be an indication that you need to dial up your sensitivity, or vice versa. You might discover that you've locked your elbow this whole time and didn't realize you needed a little bit more extension. So this is a great feedback drill all around. Now there's a lot more to this story and a lot more elements going on normally during direction changes, but this is all you need to know for now, so let's just zoom in on the aspects of this drill only. Okay, this drill is called water skier and boat, and what we're going to do is practice the feeling, each of us, of being towed, first of all.
Set our pitch, get into a bit of counter, and then I'm just walking backwards and Tess is walking forward, but we're maintaining that tension the entire time. When we get to the other side of the floor, now Tess is going to start walking backwards, I'm going to walk forward, making sure that I stay in tow. So what we don't want to see is as I'm walking backwards, Tessa doesn't really want to start walking forward over the front of that foot and start rushing faster than me or closer to me. And we don't want to be pulling or fighting each other while we're walking through this. Whatever counter tension that we have, so in this case maybe 2 pounds, it stays at 2 pounds the entire time we're walking. And when we switch to walking forward or backwards, either roll, we just want to get used to that feeling. I only do that a couple times just to get used to it, because then the real drill is that I'm going to be thinking of myself as a boat and my follower is the water skier. When we do a pass, I'm going to be the boat. So I'm starting the action, I'm creating the momentum, but as my skier starts to pass me, now we trade roles. I'm the water skier and now Tess is the boat, which means I have to wait in tension before I can start being moved down the slot.
So smoothly, that would look like this. I'm the skier. Now I'm the boat, and Miles is the skier.
So it's really important to watch the very first step that we take as we change roles. So as Tessa starts passing me, and I now walk with her, if I take a full step right away, I'm no longer in tension or countered. So I want to make sure that I get countered first. She passes by, I allow for that counter feeling, and now I can start actually moving or walking towards, because I can stay in that counter.
Now it looks like Miles stops there, but he's actually not. He's taking a moment to switch his countering back in opposition of me so that we can stay in opposition as we walk together. Now remember, the slot is created by loading and launching the slingshot, which then shoots in a straight line. But how do you know how long to make your slot? But just know that you have lots of choices. And in order to control that momentum, we use a technique called posting.
So posting is just putting on enough tension to actually stop the follower without having to go full flex and rigid. So what I'm doing is, if my normal catch from my water skier was staying at 1 pound the entire time, I have to put on about 2 or 3 pounds to override my follower's momentum. But I'm still quite relaxed in my arm, so all I'm doing is applying the brakes here to say, no, I don't want to travel anymore.
So the degree of post is going to be fluctuating between partners and songs and your ability, so expect that to change, but approximately double the amount of tension that you had to begin with.
So we're going to just be doing some basic passes and focusing on getting that post at the moment of catch, so somewhere around count 4. So doing some underarm turns, post. Now in this case, I'm also keeping my arm short. A post doesn't have to be short, but if we're talking about slot lengths, we're going to have to use a post in order to stay short, so I definitely do want to have a shorter arm when we create this. In our medium slot, I'm going to stay stationary, but I'm allowing my follower to still travel through counts 4, 5, and 6. So I'm using catch, but not a post in this sense. So again, we want to go back to that feeling we had in water skier and boat. The only difference is I'm not going skiing yet. So again, I'm using the catch to regulate this. I have my catch and tension, and then I decide how much I want my follower to travel based on where I move that tension, instead of pushing or letting my arm out with slack. For our long slots, it's going to feel like the water skier. So what I'm going to do is, when I get my catch, make sure that my first step at my follower is half weighted so I can get counter, and then we're floating through 5 and 6. And we're trying to avoid me stepping at my follower on 4 and charging them, or staying neutral and yanking my partner when I finally anchor.
Making it a surprise.
All 3 versions of our slot length are about using the catch to determine how long we want that to be, and it's so important because it gives my follower every bit of information she needs to know when and where her anchor is going to be coming. If I stay in neutral or if I charge them, they never know, and they'll tend to want to anticipate and do things based on the counts that they were taught. So we are going to be using our regular West Coast swim counts and make sure that we do have our boings at all of those redirects. So it doesn't matter if I'm going short, medium, or long, I'm still going to boing at the end. I have a slower song, I'm going to have less momentum, therefore I need to use less braking force to post my follow. For the drill, make sure that we're mixing and matching or being variable. So
randomizing helps surprise your brain so you don't get into autopilot. Now, there are way more techniques and tactics to how and when to post, but they're beyond the scope of this challenge. Just know that if you aim for continuous, elastic flow as a baseline, posting will become more purposeful and feel more effective. Now try dancing West Coast Swing to 3 different speeds of songs. Note how your leash and posting and boing need to change to accommodate each speed. Slower songs have more time to stretch longer, and faster songs need a tighter, shorter leash in general. Remember, if your partner complains that you feel too heavy, this might be just because they're not used to that much counterbalance. So don't give up on being elastic. Just dial it down from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see how they like it.